Movies. Right now, though, Rick Klein joins us, ABC News political director from Washington. Good morning, Rick Klein.
Hey, great to be with you.
All right, so I said yesterday that it's an embarrassment of riches, and there hasn't been a president that has had this good of a week in a long, long time.
Well, I think if you're the president and you get this golden opportunity, that's about as good a thing you can hope in a presidency. It is an opportunity to remake the court, not just for his term, but for a generation or more. The swing justice on the Supreme Court stepping down, it's been decades since any president has had an opportunity this big, this good. And even that alone, I think, would make your statement correct.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but on top of the courts saying that the Muslim ban is okay,
right.
The courts saying that abortion restrictions or abortion ruling in favor of pro-life was struck down. The unions, I mean, with the court decisions this week, as well as Kennedy stepping down, which puts abortion in play for the first time in 50 years, that's a good week for the conservative movement.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, this is the moment that they've been waiting for, and the excitement, the enthusiasm around that. I mean, there's already millions of dollars being spent to urge Democrats to support a nominee that hasn't been named yet. You know that this is the. It's not just the fight; it's the finish line that I think is now in sight for a lot of folks on the conservative side, and the court is certainly a critical piece of this and a critical motivating piece. I really think President Trump's election. It was owed a lot, in fact, due to the fact that there was that opening on the court. It got a lot of conservatives who might have been skeptical about President Trump out to vote last fall or 2 falls ago.
I also don't understand the backlash from the conservative movement against Mitch McConnell. He should be championed because he was the architect of this. And if you don't have Mitch McConnell doing what he did in the last year and a half of the Obama administration, you're not here today.
I think Mitch McConnell has so much responsibility for the Trump moment. Obviously, keeping the seat open for the balance of President Obama's term, not giving Merrick Garland a hearing, was his decision. He may have been pushed into it by the movement. People like Ted Cruz weren't going to stand for another solution. But I agree. I mean, he deserves enormous credit for the opportunity that now sits in front of the conservative movement.
Yeah, I also said this yesterday, and I don't mean this to be facetious or a talk show host hyperbole, but it's Donald Trump's world. We're just living in it, right? I mean, everything he does, his party doesn't push back. Whatever he decides on any given day is the way it is. I mean, this is an extraordinary moment for the American presidency.
It's so funny you say that. And you quoted yourself. Let me quote myself from the column I wrote this morning. Trumpism and what it means has been on full display this week. It is exploding across the national and international scenes. It is impacting a broadening array of issues. I totally agree that what Trump represents has come into full view. And the odd thing about this, maybe it's predictable, but it's surprising to me, both sides kind of like that. Because for the conservative movement, it is, wow, we're finally getting what Newt Gingrich said recently to me, a dramatic disabler of liberalism. And the other side says, all right, now the country sees what he's really all about. Let's see what happens at a midterm election.
You know, that's another great point is this midterm election, you have choices, right? I mean, everyone's not shying away from trying to play cute. Everyone is standing front and center, and the American people will have to vote and make a choice.
And the stakes are somehow getting bigger by the day. We've talked about this as being such a consequential election after the consequential 2016 election. I am astounded by how the array of issues grows literally by the day, and the things that cram our brains on these busy news cycles right now. How it impacts a voter is beyond me because it just gets bigger and bigger, not smaller.
Yeah, Rick, anything to plug for Saturday with George Stephanopoulos?
Well, it's going to be an interesting show because we're going to have on Susan Collins, who's one of the few Republicans who might actually oppose a Trump pick for the Supreme Court. She's pro-choice, and she thinks that Roe v. Wade needs to be protected. Of course, whoever the nominee is going to be, the president has said would overturn Roe v. Wade. The nominee won't say, almost certainly.
Right.
So how she handles this, I think, will be absolutely critical. So I'm interested to hear from her.
Yeah. Also, Claire McCaskill's on the other side of that, right? From
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there are two Republicans, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, that are in play here, and Claire McCaskill is part of a list of maybe 5 or 6 red state Democrats. McCaskill voted against Gorsuch. 3 of those red state Democrats voted for him. But you're right, McCaskill is going to be under a lot of pressure because do you want to be part of an obstructionist Democratic minority in a year like this in a state like Missouri? That's a tough position.
Yeah, while she's facing re-election. Rick Klein, great stuff. Have a good weekend. Thanks.
Hey, thanks so much.